Hello students, today in your algebra class we're going to be working on vertexes and parabolas. So let's do a couple quick warm-up problems. This would be a really good time for you to pause your screen, try these on your own, and then come back to check the answers. Hopefully you've paused your screen and now you're just coming back to check your answers. Now I asked you to evaluate the expression negative b divided by 2a for the following values of a and b. So hopefully this is fairly simple. So negative b divided by 2a is equal to negative b in this instance is 4 divided by 2 times a, which is negative 6. So now you get negative 4 divided by negative 12. This turns out to be 4/12 or 1/3. Number 2, it's negative b divided by 2a. That's negative b in this instance is 20 divided by 2a, a is 15. So we get negative 20/30 or negative 2/3. Last but not least, we have negative b divided by 2a again. So we have negative b in this case is 108 divided by 2 times negative 9. We get negative 108 divided by negative 18. This turns out to be positive 6. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to find the vertex and sketch the parabola. So a couple things you need to know first. First of all, we're going to introduce the quadratic equation to you. Now the quadratic equation is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is a non-zero number. Next, we're going to introduce the axis of symmetry, or the AOS. Now the axis of symmetry is a line that splits our graph into two congruent segments. The vertex, which is given by the formula negative b divided by 2a, comma f of negative b divided by 2a, is the ordered pair that we use to find where both sides of the parabola are going to meet. And this usually gives us our max or our min value. Don't worry if it doesn't exactly make sense. We'll explain it with pictures in a second. So for the first one, it says find the axis of symmetry, vertex, and then we're going to graph it. So we have y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 5. And if you compare that to our quadratic, this should tell you what a, b, and c are. So we're going to list that. So a equals 2, b equals 4, and c equals negative 5. So now to find the axis of symmetry, we are going to substitute these values in. So negative b in this case is 4 divided by 2 times a is 2. This turns out to be negative 4 divided by 4, or just negative 1. Now, the axis of symmetry is really important. It says, so by the way, our axis of symmetry is now x equals negative 1, because it says x equals negative b divided by 2a. Now the axis of symmetry, like I said, it splits our parabola into two congruent segments, or two symmetrical pieces. So if x equals negative 1, that's over here, we are going to draw a dashed line, a vertically dashed line. This is our axis of symmetry. And you'll see what it does in just a second. So now we're going to take our axis of symmetry, our x value for the axis of symmetry, and use that on our vertex. So the vertex is our ordered pair. It's an x and y value. In this instance, we already know the x value. The x value is negative 1. The y value is the one we have to work on. Now the y value, as it says in our formula, it says f of negative b divided by 2a. F lists it as a function. So what that really means to you is to take your original equation, y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 5. And it says that you're going to substitute your x value for your vertex, which is the same as your axis of symmetry. So 2 times negative 1 squared plus 4 times negative 1 minus 5. So 2 times, remember PEMDAS, so parentheses first and then exponents. So the parentheses are simplified. Now we have the exponents. So negative 1 squared is 1 plus 4 times negative 1 minus 5. So now we're going to do multiplication. So 2 times 1 is 2. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Then we have minus 5. So 2 minus 4 is negative 2, and minus 5 we're just bringing down. So negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. So now we have our vertex. Our vertex is negative 1, negative 7. So now what do we do with the vertex? The vertex tells us the point where both sides of our parabola, that's the name of this graph, it's called a parabola, where both sides meet. So we're going to go to our vertex, negative 1, and then down 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is our vertex. So what that does is it gives us the basis for our graph. So since we have a parabola, we're going to go ahead and start at our vertex and graph our line, or graph our graph. So in this instance, we are going to start at our vertex and go upwards like so, making sure that we add arrowheads at the ends. And the same thing goes for the left-hand side. So they should look symmetrical. We're not going to worry about how exactly your graphs will turn out at this point in time. But notice that in this instance, our axis of symmetry splits it right down the middle, and then our vertex is the minimum or maximum point, and it's right where the left and right side meet at the bottom or the top. So find that axis of symmetry, vertex, and then graph. So we're going to do this one a little bit faster and see if you can keep up. So we have y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Notice that in the equation that was given, y equals 2x squared plus 4, they don't have a value that's listed as b, which means that your a is going to be 2 because it's attached to the x squared. I don't see an x value, which means there is no b value, or it's 0, and your c, which is your constant, is just 4. So for our axis of symmetry, it's supposed to be negative b divided by 2a. A is 2 in this case. So we have 0 divided by 2 times 2, and that 0 divided by anything is 0. So now we have the starting point for our vertex. So 0, comma, and we need to find the y value. So we start off with the original equation, y equals 2x squared plus 4. Y equals 2 times 0 squared plus 4. 0 squared is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. So 0 plus 4. Y equals 4. Now we have the vertex. So the vertex is 0, 4. We're going to start off with our axis of symmetry, which is at 0. So dashed line vertically at 0. Our vertex is at 0, 4. So 0 left or right, but 4 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And because our a is positive, our graph should be going upwards. So graphing this, it's going upwards. So we are going to draw our parabola going upwards, making sure to do the arrowheads at the top. Now it's your turn. I want you to, in problem 1, find the axis of symmetry. Problem 2 is graph it. Problem 2 is find the vertex and then try graphing it. That's all for now. I'll see you guys next time.